Unfortunately, the Astroworld Festival Tragedy has claimed another person. 9-year-old Ezra Blount is the latest victim to succumb to his injuries following what Houston police called a mass casualty event. 9-year-old Ezra Blount is now the youngest person to have lost their life while attending Travis Scott's Astroworld Festival. If you recall, we told you that Ezra had been put on life support following the horrific crowd surge that took so many by surprise. The family of Ezra confirmed this news to ABC 13 Houston, which now raises the number of fatalities to 10 people. Ben Crump, who is an attorney for the family, said to the press, "The Blount family tonight is grieving the incomprehensible loss of their precious young son. This should not have been the outcome of taking their son to a concert, which should have been a joyful celebration. Ezra's death is absolutely heartbreaking. We are committed to seeking answers and justice for the Blount family, but tonight we stand in solidarity with the family in grief and in prayer." The mayor of Houston even shared his condolences and posted to Twitter saying, "I am saddened to learn of Ezra's death this evening. Our city tonight prays for his mom, dad, grandparents, other family members, and classmates at this time. They will need all of our support in the months and years to come. May God give them strength. Rest in peace, Ezra." Ezra had been put into a medically induced coma for over a week now after being knocked off of his father's shoulders when the crowd began to get out of control. When speaking with the press about taking Ezra to Astroworld, his father said, "He was stoked. He was ready to go. When I found out that he was a big fan of Travis Scott, I was like, oh yeah, we gotta go. We gotta go see Travis live." And his father also noted that when they arrived at the festival, they purposely stayed closer to the back of the crowd and away from the stage. Treston goes on to say, "We was in the back, way in the back, and I figured, okay, this is cool because the front can get a little wild." Unfortunately, it didn't matter how far back you were in that crowd. When the concert started to get out of hand, both Treston and Ezra were overwhelmed by the pressure of the crowd. Treston had actually passed out from the amount of pressure, and by the time that he woke up, his son had already been rushed to the hospital. Upon arriving, Ezra had major damage done to his organs and his brain had started to swell. Treston told the media, "I could tell that he was damaged. I'm not ready to lose my boy at all. We still got a bunch of living to do. That's my boy." And last Tuesday, Ezra's family joined the many others who filed a lawsuit against Travis Scott. In their lawsuit, they accused Travis Scott of gross negligent conduct, which contributed to Ezra's life-threatening injuries. In their initial filing before Ezra's passing, the lawsuit said, "To his young, growing body, these injuries will have lifelong effects, impairing his quality of life and ability to grow and thrive, as he would have had he not been subjected to this incident." Along with that, they also alleged negligence on a number of different levels, from crowd control to providing proper medical attention, hiring, training, supervision, and retention. Back on Thursday, Travis Scott told the press that he and his team had been actively exploring routes of connection with each and every family that was affected by this tragedy, but he also added that he was distraught by the situation and desperately wishing to share his condolences and provide aid to the families. However, he also mentioned that despite wanting to do this as soon as possible, he wants to remain respectful to each of the family's wishes on how they would like to be contacted.
Last week, we reported that Kylie Cosmetics is losing millions of dollars following the Astroworld tragedy, but now sources are saying that Kylie is furious about these rumors as they are not true. After reports were swirling that Kylie Cosmetics was losing tons of money following the festival, Kylie's reps refuted the rumors. The Sun first reported that Kylie might end up losing her business partnerships among the tragedy, as many were furious that Kylie was at the festival and did nothing, as well as posting a video of the concert with an ambulance in the frame and not deleting it until she was pressured to. At the time, the source stated, quote, "Kylie feels the weight of this and more than anything wants to do right by the victim. I know people do not think she cares, but she really does. At the same time, she's a businesswoman responsible for the livelihood of a lot of people." At that time, people wanted Kylie Cosmetics to take time off and not promote or sell any product out of respect for the families of those lost. But the source has added that Kylie is in a lose-lose situation because people depend on her for their incomes. Apparently, Kylie has decided to keep promotion on the down low for a few weeks to see how the situation plays out. However, the longer a company goes without promoting, the more money they stand to lose. The source added, quote, "We're talking potentially millions of dollars in losses." Kylie Cosmetics has not posted anything since November 5th, the day of the festival, and the comments are currently turned off, so it doesn't seem like Kylie will be posting again anytime soon. Kylie hasn't posted on her own Instagram since the event, and the comments on her posts are currently limited. However, the comments are flooded with people calling her out for the tragic festival. The source added that Kris Jenner is in crisis mode and is trying to figure out how to handle the situation. However, Kylie's reps allegedly commented on the piece from The Sun and said that the information in that article is incorrect. They didn't comment further, just basically denied the claims. However, from the videos that have been circulating online of people throwing out their Kylie Cosmetics products, it's clear that fans will be taking out their anger on Kardashian business ventures. They clearly turned off the comments on the Kylie Cosmetics Instagram page for a reason. One tweet about the situation read, Kylie Cosmetics, your days are numbered. Everything must go. Another person said, I'ma just leave this here since now y'all are finally throwing out your Kylie Jenner cosmetics. Along with the photo sharing BIPOC, brands that people should support instead of Kylie. Kylie is currently back in LA while she tries to handle the situation. Apparently she took a private jet out right after the news of the tragedy broke. Her and Stormi left for LA while Travis stayed in Houston to deal with the situation, essentially leaving him behind to fend for himself. Apparently Kylie left in the middle of the night so nobody would notice. She also took a different plane rather than her pink Kylie plane. Kylie made a statement addressing the tragedy the day after it happened, but fans are not accepting her words and are still angry with how Travis and Kylie have handled the tragedy.
Top 10 people who hate Travis Scott. Coming in number 10, Kris Jenner. Travis Scott and Kris Jenner already were not in a good place. Now this most recent incident is definitely going to test their relationship yet again. I don't think Kris is going to be acting very friendly towards Travis after so many people threw shade at Kylie for attending and filming that ambulance that drove through his crowd. Back when there were allegations that Travis was cheating, a source close to the family told the press, Kris is furious with Travis over his careless attitude with Kylie. Kris never sees Travis around, and when she does see him, Travis does not seem very present or engaged with the family. And now with his ties to Kylie affecting her business, it's pretty safe to say that they won't be on good terms. Coming in number 9, Kylie Jenner. I'm sure from a personal standpoint these two will publicly support each other, but with Kylie leaving Travis in Houston and jetting back home with her mother, things may be taking a turn for the worst. I mentioned in a previous video we did about Kylie Cosmetics taking a huge hit to their sales, and although it may sound cold, money issues tend to be the straw that breaks the camel's back in any relationship. And after she was linked to this tragedy at Astroworld, Kylie is definitely going to be hesitant about when she starts promoting her products again. Her last post as of writing this was November 4th, and according to reports she makes about $1 million per post in direct sales. So on whatever day that you're watching this, you do the math of how much money that she's lost out on. I believe she can sustain in sales, but this is certainly going to put some pressure on her relationship with Travis. Coming in at number 8, Houston Police. This event, in my opinion, was not a good look for the Houston Police. Kudos to them for all that they did, because there certainly could have been more tragedies if they did not intervene, but this is definitely not a good look on them. You have to think that there are some officers that even resent Travis Scott for continuing his performance despite many people needing medical attention. TMZ also broke a story where you can see Houston police officers at the front of the stage just calmly taking videos and photos of Travis Scott and Drake on stage as they hyped up the crowd. This was between 9:57 p.m. and 10:02 p.m. Now the problem with that time frame is that the Houston fire chief declared that this was a mass casualty event at 9:38 p.m. So while all of this chaos was going on in the middle of the crowd, you have Houston PD just standing around, which again is not a good look on their department, and Travis might carry some blame there. Or at least, like I said, resentment towards him. Coming in at number 7, Energy Park. Energy Park in Houston, Texas is this massive venue space complete with a stadium and one of the world's largest parking lots, which can actually hold up to 26,000 vehicles. They also see nearly 750 events yearly. However, after hosting Astroworld, a number of bad things could happen to the park. For starters, their insurance policy is nowhere near what they would need to help pay the family of the victims and the countless others who were injured in their park. A little bit of the responsibility for this disaster has to also fall on the venue for not making sure that every safety measure was put in place. Again, it always goes back to money though. If the park starts taking a huge hit in sales because people don't want to associate with them after this, or because they are drowning in lawsuits, you have to imagine that there would be a lot of resentment towards Travis Scott. Coming number 6, Houston Medics. My heart really goes out to the poor EMTs that had to work on trying to revive people in all of this chaos and by themselves in most situations. A TikTok user who claimed to be a medic at the event said that he was on his way to assist another medic when he had to stop and save a different concert goer who had also fallen unconscious. They said that this kept happening again and again to medics who were just trying to work in teams. Due to there being so many people requiring assistance, they often had to separate, which is not a good thing to do in this scenario. I also can't imagine being that ambulance driver just trying to get through the crowd to get some medical attention, and then suddenly you hear people climbing on top and dancing on the roof of the ambulance. I couldn't imagine how it must have felt to be a medic in that crowd trying to revive someone as Travis Scott screams for them to make the ground shake. A lot of resentment coming towards Travis Scott, that's for sure. In at number 5, Live Nation. Among the people that are also facing a lawsuit, we have the event organizer Live Nation. Now, to have this tragedy happen involving your brand this soon after a global pandemic is not good. You know their company must have taken a huge hit in profits after not being able to operate for a year because of COVID restrictions. And now they're being smacked with lawsuits for hosting the Astroworld Festival. Within the lawsuits, they claim that Live Nation acted negligently by failing to create and enforce proper safety protocols, failing to provide adequate security, and failing to maintain proper crowd control. According to a lawsuit that was filed on behalf of Wasim Abdullawi, he was left seriously and permanently injured from the concert. The suit goes on to say, conditions were created and consented to by the festival organizers that caused several stampedes and a crowd compression that resulted in the tragic deaths of 8 individuals and the serious injuries of hundreds more. However, now that this number has risen to 10 people, things are only going to be getting worse for Live Nation. Coming in at number 4, Drake. Meredith Duncan, a law professor at the University of Houston Law Center faculty, spoke to the press about why Drake is now also at the center of several lawsuits. She says, quote, "The allegation about Drake is that he also should have been aware that people were being injured and hurt, and by him taking the stage and performing that he was going to add to that situation." One of the lawsuits alleges that Drake actually helped incite the crowd and that he continued to be on stage with Travis as the crowd became out of control. Not only that, but he's also facing backlash for what he did after the festival. In a similar situation to Kylie Jenner, Drake may be wanting to, distance himself from Travis Scott, because shortly after all of the news began to come out regarding the horrifying details of the event, Drake broke his silence on the matter and said, "I've spent the past few days trying to wrap my mind around this devastating tragedy. I hate resorting to this platform to express an emotion as delicate as grief, but this is where I find myself. My heart is broken for the families and friends of those who lost their lives and for anyone who is suffering. I will continue to pray for all of them and will be of service in any way I can. May God be with you all." In at number 3, McDonald's. Even the mega fast food chain McDonald's is severing ties with Travis Scott following the controversy with Astroworld. Back in September of 2020, McDonald's announced their collaboration and launched the Travis Scott meal. However, both he and the location in Downey, California were fined after holding a promo event that brought in a crowd of 500 crazy fans. There were so many people jammed into the McDonald's just pushing and shoving each other that Scott's security team had to actually push him through the crowd. In a tweet condemning the event, the Downey police said, "Today's Travis Scott appearance at McDonald's was neither approved nor permitted by the city of Downey. DPD units were dispatched in response to a large crowd gathered and focused on traffic and pedestrian safety concerns until the crowd dispersed. No injuries were reported." So from the jump, they experienced controversy while collabing with Travis Scott, and now they definitely don't want to partner up again. In at number 2, Epic Games. Epic Games has worked with Travis Scott a lot in the past. In Fortnite, they even hosted a virtual concert, which from now on is probably the safest way to attend a Travis Scott show, although I doubt it will ever be happening with Epic Games ever again. Anyone who associates with Travis after this incident will certainly face a bit of controversy, and so to get ahead of that, Epic Games removed all of Travis Scott's unique emotes from their Fortnite item shop. There is also a Travis Scott skin that thousands of players probably have in their inventory, and although it's unknown if they will remove that as well, one thing is for sure, these two will not be collaborating together ever again. Last but certainly not least, on our number 1 spot, victims' families. The real people who have the right to not like Travis Scott are the families of those who lost their lives at this concert. Those are the people who have every right to be furious when he put the show above the safety of his fans. The crowd surge and chaos in the crowd ended up taking the lives of 21-year-old Axel Acosta Elvia, 27-year-old Danish Bag, 9-year-old Ezra Blount, 23-year-old Madison Dubisky, 14-year-old John Hilgert, 20-year-old Jacob Jurinick, 21-year-old Franco Patino, 23-year-old Rodolfo Pena, 16-year-old Brianna Rodriguez, and 22-year-old Bahardi Shahani. The family members and loved ones for all of these victims have every right to hate Travis Scott right now, and I truly hope that he follows through on his promise to pay for their funeral expenses.